What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video we're going to be comparing the cameras of the Sony Xperia Z5 and the iPhone 6s Super Saf style. Now we'll be looking at both the front and rear facing cameras and at images as well as video too. Do also look out for the audio icon in the corner of the screen, and that will indicate to you which device the audio is coming from to, and we'll be switching between these two to give you guys a better idea in terms of the audio differences. Now we're currently outdoors. We are filming with the front-facing cameras of both devices, and this is the sort of quality that you can expect. Now, one thing to mention is that the Z5 camera is exactly the same front and back as the Z5 Premium. So if you are interested in the Z5 Premium, then this will be exactly the same, and you can see how it is compared to the iPhone 6s Plus. So do hit that thumbs up button and let's try lots of different shots. So now we're using the rear-facing cameras on both devices, and this is the sort of quality difference that you can expect. Let's just take a little bit of a walk. And there you go. Now both of these are filming at 4K. Now although this video is exported out at 1080p, this does mean that we can crop in quite a bit and get a lot more detail. So we are currently indoors in relatively low light with the Sony Xperia Z5 and just testing out the autofocus. And it seems to be super fast actually. Now exactly the same lighting with the iPhone 6s, and it also seems to be doing a decent job. Definitely not as fast as the Z5 in terms of the autofocus from what I can see here. Now this is just quickly side by side, just so you can see that we are indeed in the same low lighting condition, and hopefully it will give you an idea of which you think performs better in low light when it comes to video. So that was the video. Now let's have a look at some images. Now we're not going to mix these up as we usually do, because there is quite a difference in terms of the angle of lenses for both of these. So you'll notice that the wider angle lens is of the Z5, and you'll know which one it is anyway. But anyway, let's get straight to the selfies. So front-facing cameras on both of these devices. I definitely like the Z5 a lot more. The colors are better and more accurate. If you look at the black on my jacket, it's definitely more accurate compared to the iPhone 6s Plus, which has a bit of a yellow tint, and it's also blown out some highlights near my forehead as well. So I would definitely give the edge here in good light to the Z5. Now let's move on to a selfie in low light. Here you can clearly see that the 6s Plus is doing a better job. You got a much brighter image. The colors are a lot better as well. The Z5 has a yellow tint, and it's definitely not keeping any of the detail. It's lost a lot of detail. It's become quite smudgy there as from what I can see. So I would definitely give the edge here to the iPhone 6s Plus. Now the 6s Plus actually goes one step further, and you do have the front facing flash. Now this isn't a flash in the traditional sense. It illuminates the screen and brightens up the image. So if we put that on, you can see that you've got an even better image now here from the front facing flash. So that is definitely a win for the iPhone 6s Plus for selfies in low light. Now moving on to an outdoor image in good light. So here is where you can see the wide angle lens of the Sony Xperia Z5. So you can fit in a lot more of your image. Now I think both are doing a great job here, although I do prefer the Z5 image a little bit more. I think I like the colors a little bit better. There is more contrast on here. I think the iPhone 6s Plus has slightly washed the image out. So I would give the edge here to the Z5. Now going in 100%, you can see that we've got plenty of detail on both of these. Now I was expecting to be able to crop in much further on the Z5, but because of that wide angle lens, you do get a lot more in the initial image. And then when you zoom in, you get around about the same. So this is capturing more on that wider angle lens. So if that's something that you like, then you will like the Z5. Now moving on to another image here. So we've got letterbox. Both seem to be doing a great job. Once again, that wide angle lens of the Z5 is fitting in so much more of the image here. Now in terms of colors, I do prefer the iPhone 6s Plus here a little bit. I think you've just got a tad more contrast. That might just come down to your personal preference. Now let's move on. So here's an outdoor wide image. Now I do like the iPhone 6s Plus image here more. I think you've got more contrast, and you've got a lot more of the sky that's maintained, whereas it has blown it out on the Z5. So I would give the edge here to the iPhone 6s Plus. Now moving indoors, now let's try some low light tests. So firstly, this is in relatively low light. I like the colors better on the Z5. I think they are definitely a bit more natural, whereas on the 6S Plus you've got more of a yellowish tint. But I do like the detail better on the iPhone 6S Plus, so that is a bit of a draw. Now let's dip the light down even further. Now here you can see that the Z5 is really breaking down here, whereas the iPhone 6S Plus is still maintaining a little bit more of that detail, which I do think comes down to the optical image stabilization. And with the Z5, because you've got that many more pixels, you've got 23 megapixels, which it is cramming onto that sensor. I think this is where you are going to start seeing some issues with low light, because it simply can't get enough light per pixel compared to the iPhone 6S Plus. Now let's go in 100%, and here you can clearly see that the iPhone 6S Plus has maintained a lot more detail. Now I'm not saying it's doing a great job in low light, because you do have a lot of grain here on the iPhone 6S Plus, but it is definitely doing a better job compared to the Z5, which is really losing a lot of detail. Now finally, trying out the flash on both devices, I would give the edge here to the iPhone 6S Plus. I think the True Tone flash is definitely helping maintain a more balanced color, whereas you've got a quite yellow color on the Z5. So there we have it, the iPhone 6S Plus versus the Sony Xperia Z5 camera comparison. Now overall, I do think both have good cameras and they should be great for your day-to-day usage. Now for the front-facing cameras, I do think that the Z5 gets the edge in good light. You had better colors as you saw, but in low light, the 6S Plus definitely gets the edge. In terms of video, I would have to give the edge to the iPhone 6S Plus overall. I think you had better colors on there, a little bit more contrast, and also the optical image stabilization definitely helped. Now generally, images in good light. For detail, if you want a detail with a wider angle lens and be able to fit in so much more in your picture, then the Z5 will get the edge. In low light as well, I did prefer the 6S Plus. So if you're going to be taking lots of images in low light from the rear facing camera, then I would give the 6S Plus the edge here. In terms of autofocus, the Z5 would get the edge. It was a little bit quicker because of that hybrid autofocus that did work quite well. In terms of audio, I would give the edge to the Z5. You've got stereo audio versus mono audio. So if you want to go ahead and listen back, I think the audio was just a little bit louder and more rich on the Z5. That's what I think anyway. What do you think? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to see lots of images from lots of different devices, then do go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram. I post lots of images there on a regular basis. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe. I've got plenty more content coming up on here. You can also see my previous related video here in the annotations and stay in touch with me over social media. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.